Okay, welcome to my program. And today, once again, I have the pleasure of having former CIA analyst Larry Johnson and pretty much an important influencer with all his knowledge already. I mean, you've been a busy man since your retirement. You're all over the place.
I don't believe in retirement. Keep working until the end.
Yeah. Okay. My focus is, since I reside in Stockholm and I'm a Swedish person, I grew up in North Sweden, but I've been in the Navy and the Baltic Sea and all over the place. We have a Russian neighbor here, which is a relic of the result of World War II,
Right.
which is Kaliningrad, which when Germany lost the war to the Soviet Union, the Soviet Union decided that they needed that little enclave for access to the Baltic Sea, and they kept it. And from the beginning, it was a German city called Königsberg, and it was actually formed as a German state in 1255. And then it's gone through a lot of changes and things like that, but it's actually been the capital of Germany in the 1800s. Well, many people don't know that, but it's since World War II ended in 1945, it belongs to Russia, today's
Correct.
Russia. And amazingly enough, there's military persons, one of them called Donahue, that actually goes out and states that we are going to take it. We're going to take Kaliningrad. What's your take on that?
Yeah, and let's be clear that the Soviets were granted control of Kaliningrad under the Potsdam Agreement.
Right.
So it wasn't that they took it by force. It was agreed upon. It was agreed upon by the United States and by the Great Britain. So they came by it legally. The head of the U.S. European Command is Donahue,
Right.
and he was speaking at a NATO conference and just brought up about how bragging how fast we could take over Kaliningrad, that the Russians couldn't do anything to stop us. Now, he was saying that, I think, primarily just to sort of boost morale among the Lithuanians, the Estonians, and the Latvians. But the Russians certainly didn't take kindly to it, and it was seen as just more bellicosity. When you add that statement to the efforts of the different, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Norway, to interfere with Russian ships coming out of St. Petersburg and out of Kaliningrad, it's really, you're setting up a flashpoint that could ignite quickly and plunge us into this into a hot war between Russia and the West. Yeah. So the Kaliningrad is it's something to keep an eye on. Just the fact that Donahue, it was a stupid thing to say, but the fact that he didn't even have the self-monitoring to realize how stupid it was, it tells us.
He actually said that there was a long time planning. We have the plan already constructed. We know exactly how we're going to do it. Isn't that utterly stupid by a high-ranking military to disclose in public what you're thinking and planning?
Yeah, I mean, no, you're absolutely right. There's, it's one thing to have those as plans, but then to announce it is going to be seen by the Russians again as a provocation. Mm-hmm. They've got, if you're a Russian military planner or an intelligence analyst, you're going to have to take the United States at its word. If they're saying this, they're probably planning to do it. They're not just kidding around. It's not a joke.
Right. Yeah. Then there was a German brigadier general, his name is Christian Freuding.
Yeah, Freuding.
He came into high military command in Germany in 2022. as the head of what they called in German Lagezentrum für Ukraine. Okay? And he was also confirming just recently that he was involved in this plan that Germany would be a significant part if they would attack Russia. And in this case, they're talking about the enclave of Kaliningrad, most of all, because they know they can't go further into Ukraine towards the Russian borders. That's been stopped militarily, according to me. But you probably have better knowledge of this. Anyway, what do you say?
Well, we've seen this increase in bellicose rhetoric coming out of Germany, out of England, less so out of France. But, those three are the big troublemakers now.
Yeah.
And their mouths are writing checks that they don't have funds in their bank to cash.
Exactly.
So they're doing a lot of big talking, chest thumping, but in terms of having the actual military capability, it's very slim. And what worries me, though, is they believe, they say this stuff and they really believe it.
Yeah.
They're not sitting there knowing that they're lying. They really believe that, oh yeah, we can do this. It's sort of like the guy, say the 150 kilogram man that sits on a sofa eating junk food all day and says, you know what, I'm going to go out and run a marathon now. Well, if you're extremely obese and you've all been sitting around and you haven't been walking or exercising or running, the odds that you can do that are zero. And that's what we're faced here, that if the Germans and French and Brits dare to put troops and certainly go along with going into attacking Kaliningrad, the war will become hot, and those countries are going to face some devastation that they haven't seen since World War II.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have the Baltic states. I just looked it up, the three of them, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Altogether, there are 6 million people there. 1.4 in Estonia, 1.9 in Latvia.
Lithuania.
Yeah, and 2.9 in Lithuania. So you further south you come in the Baltics, a little more people there are. But they're minuscule countries. They don't have, they don't have a brigade even. And the Lithuanians, which has the access to the Slovakia corridor, which is the rail and road that connects Kaliningrad with Belarus and Russia. That is Russian territory on the road and on the railway. And they already tried to stop some of the supplies coming this way from motherland Russia. But, of course, they couldn't do that. That was very temporary. But it's like somebody saying, I remember the scene with Paul Hogan from Crocodile Dundee when he's threatened with a knife on a street in America with a little bit of a knife, and he pulls out his knife and says, "This is a knife."
Yeah,
that's what the Russians were telling the Lithuanians: "Shut up, or we'll destroy you."
Yeah, that's the thing with once you realize they're like 2/3 the size of New York City.
Right.
just one city. They're like a fifth the size of the population of Moscow.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's ridiculous that.
Yeah, their neighbor in the Baltic, St. Petersburg, it has more people than all of the 3 Baltic states. Well, let's say accumulated 6 million in the Baltic states. St. Petersburg is somewhere around 8, 9 million.
Right.
Somewhere like that.
Yeah, no, so it's just this is it's absurd, but these little pissant countries can certainly create a lot of mayhem.
Oh, yeah. Of course, Estonia has this woman in charge of foreign policies in the European Commission,
Kaya
Kaya
Kallas.
Kallas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she has a history. I looked her up. She hates Russians because, of course, they were occupied by the Soviet Union at the end of the World War, Second World War. But come on, 30% of the population in these Baltic miniature states are ethnic Russians.
Hmm.
So what are you going to do? I worked in Estonia in the beginning of the 90s as a consultant, and we had problems because they had trouble getting passports. We were going to travel with ethnic Russians, born and bred in Estonia in this case.
Hmm.
They were denied travel privileges because they were ethnic Russians, because of the hatred that still was boiling from their grandparents, from history. And Kaya Kallas is a symbol of this long hatred. And I mean, for Sweden's government goes out and says, well, it's risky to manufacture our Swedish weapons in Ukraine, so we'll put the Ukrainian weapon factories in Sweden.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? They're asking for trouble.
Yeah. No, it's they tried to seize one of the Russian tankers, and now that the Russians are giving those tankers military escorts,
Yeah.
so that and
Yeah,
they
they're
also
serious about that because they said you do this piracy again, but you know exactly the map of the Baltic Sea. It's got the strait between Denmark and Sweden that it's a sort of a bottleneck.
yeah, it's a choke point.
It's a choke point, exactly. So, and the Russians said if you and also the Bay of Finland into St. Petersburg, it's quite narrow, and you got Estonia on the south side and Finland on the north side. Their Estonian Navy, with a little bitty boat, is trying to stop super tankers coming in and out. And the Russians are sick of it. So they said, we'll shoot. We'll send out a destroyer and escort these civilian shipments that you're trying to stop. And that is aligned with what the EU and the United States has imposed as far as what they call sanctions. But that's not working very well.
No, it's actually strengthened Russia.
Exactly.
I would argue Russia's become stronger as a consequence of the sanctions, not weaker. And the West has actually hurt itself. It's incentivized Russia to move out and develop independent or financial systems, insurance systems, monetary systems that are independent of the West. So it's really made BRICS. It's been a transformative force for BRICS. BRICS was, I guess, first conceived of and brought together in 2014, but it didn't really get the energy to start moving forward on very concrete proposals for settling payments between trading countries, moving money, developing independent insurance, developing independent gold markets. All of this is really developed in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So if you compare the previous 9 years of BRICS to what's happened in the last 2 years have seen phenomenal progress.
Yeah. And of course, that's a threat to the dollar. In some ways, I'm not that, knowledgeable about that. I just got news today also. I'd like you to comment on that. There's been officials from Israel and from the Ukraine that they're ganging up militarily against Iran. I mean, I just thought I read a comic book or something like that.
Yeah.
You have anything on that, or you want to go into
You know,
something?
Israel's being very, very stupid, but by aligning itself so closely to Ukraine at the very moment that Ukraine's going to lose. But you know, one of the reasons is you have a lot of Russian Jews and Ukrainian Jews that are citizens of Israel. You know,
Exactly.
probably a third of the Israeli population traces to Ukraine and or Russia. But by the the Jewish element that went to Israel did so when they hated Russia. They saw Russia as being anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
and so now they're aligning themselves with Zelensky. I'll call him a pseudo Jew because he was not practicing the religious faith at all. He just gets to claim it as an ethnic heritage.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
it,
Zelensky is actually a sort of an ethnic Russian. He was born in Krasny Yar or whatever it's called. But I tend to not get into the ethnic debate on everything. But we've seen recently also now the latest was, where Lviv is. It's quite
yes,
close
yes,
to Poland. That
right.
filled with thousands of protesters when they got word of that Zelensky was going to remove the NABU, the anti-corruption thing, and move it over to the government.
Yeah, National Anti-Corruption Bureau.
Right. And also the legal
SAPO.
SAPO, yeah.
I
Doesn't
think that
Zelensky know that his days are over?
uh, he may think that in the back of his mind, yes, but he's still playing his hand, trying to stay afloat, keep his head above water. The United States has made it pretty clear in that article written by Seymour Hersh that they're going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when, how, and who.
Yeah. If they want to
But,
expedite him or actually murder him, that remains to be seen. Rumor has it, and I don't have confirmation on that, but Zelensky has a private jet ready, standby to flee the country. With he has a security staff around him.
yeah, where's he going to go? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
there's not. That's probably I would say is one of the leverage points that the United States has over him.
Hmm.
That he plays ball and does what now Trump and his team want, or else he doesn't get a visa. He's not going to be welcomed into the U.S.
Right. No, probably not. He has to go to some country that doesn't give his stuff. That probably he's got a lot of money stashed away, so he can buy his way into some Caribbean island or whatever. I would think. All right, but back to what we started with. Like I said, for us in living around the Baltic Sea, particularly Sweden, Finland, and Denmark, us informed people, we're worried about what this military planning generals like Freuding and Donahue are
Right.
actually saying. I mean, Sweden has had no war for 200 years. And we actually used to have the area in the Baltics. We used to have big parts of what's now Russia under Karl the 11th and the 1700s. But that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
been a neutral, peaceful country that decided for no reason to join the military alliance called NATO by our
Yeah.
stupid government leaders.
Does that? Do the majority of Swedes support that?
They don't even get nothing because nothing is said in the media. But I would say we drew some polls And about 60% think it's a bad idea that we join NATO. And wait until they see the bill, what it's going to cost for us to have 5% of the GDP for defense expenditures. We already have problems with money for ambulances, healthcare, retired homes are going bankrupt, and we're spending the money on firearms.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's insane.
It is totally insane.
Yeah.
All right.
Russia's not talking about invading Sweden at all.
No, but they get irritated. They get irritated with Sweden letting up 17 territories to American military forces.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's then in their neighborhood. Finland has 180 or more, 1,800 kilometer land against with Russia, a border. You know,
Yeah.
Sweden only has this with the Baltic Sea because we're not locked up to the Arctic Ocean. But another thing, they planned from NATO with the consent of Sweden and Finland and Norway to put a special military force base in Rovaniemi, which is 300 kilometers from Murmansk. But the Americans said, nah, we don't want to do that. That's minus 40 centigrade in the winter. We don't want this. It's the Finnish Lapland. It's a miserable area in the winter, and it's hot in the summer because they get the Siberian high pressures. But the summer lasts about 1 week. Rest of it is miserable winter in the Arctic. So the Americans didn't want to do that, so it's on hold. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because the Russians, they have a lot of their naval forces in Murmansk because that's another ice-free passage for them out through the Atlantic. And that's where they have their strategic nuclear submarines. They don't have any of those in the Baltic Sea. They have destroyers and torpedo boats, lighter naval crafts. But in Murmansk, they have the artillery.
Right. Well, and they've also got icebreakers, something the United States doesn't have.
Nuclearly powered.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Yeah, they don't have a problem with the northeast or northwest passage up there where you can actually circumcise the earth a lot shorter than going through the Suez Canal or the other Panama Canal. They don't need that. They'll break the ice if there is ice, and most of the time there is no ice because of the Gulf current. So, yeah, whatever. Well, I won't keep you very long, so thanks again for coming on. I hope we can do it soon again and see the development of things.
Well, and keep me posted of sort of how things are, what you're seeing on the ground in Sweden.
Absolutely.
Tensions build up, because I think we're going to see things come to a head here in August.
I think so too. And also, I want to inform my viewers here to subscribe to sonar21.com or go into Larry's website, sonar21.com, but subscribe, it's free. And it's absolutely instrumental in information. I use it as a source all the time. Fantastic job, Larry. And thanks for participating in the Peace Coalition, the VIPs, and all the shows that you give your deep knowledge to, including me at this point. So thank you so much.
Okay, Håkan, always a pleasure to be with you, my friend.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Hey,
it's Friday.
Hey, enjoy that short summer up there.
Actually, we had a tropical night just last night where they measure. It's very rare in Scandinavia to have a tropical night where the temperature is plus 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, even at night. But of course, the sun is not gone here more than about 5.5 hours right now because
Yeah.
our location. And where I grew up, we would still be out sunbathing at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So,
We'll enjoy. We'll
well,
be in
you have
touch. Thanks so
tropical all
much.
year round in Florida, so
Yeah, yeah. We get we got the palm trees.
yeah, that's nice. All right. Thank you so much,
Oh,
and
all
bye
right.
bye.
Bye.